What happens there, Nate, is that these machines, the track has changed quite a bit overnight. So what they'll do is they'll let the Enduro sleds just out on the track they've made some adjustments overnight, and just to have a look at how the track has changed before we get ready for the Turtle Creek 250 here today. So it's just an opportunity for the machines to get a look at the track, the conditions here on this Sunday here in Traverse City.
Yeah, so quick correction. As you can obviously tell, the Pro Enduro sleds are out there right now. So it looks like we have potentially scratched the junior vintage 340 class. That would then explain why Trenton Alberts, who was originally set to be in that class earlier, wound up running with the main 340 class earlier. So we're going to move into the finals next. For right now, we'll get some of these practice laps and these install laps in for these Pro Enduro teams to try to get things set. And again, Spanky, you're setting up for the long run, obviously, for a Pro Enduro. But what as a team can you learn in terms of the comfort and the balance of the sled in this brief time on track?
Well, these teams limited laps on the track yesterday here, so these teams had an opportunity to think about it and talk about the changes they would make, and the conditions have changed here today. It's a little bit cooler. They get the good job by the workers. They went to work and got a lot of water off the racetrack, so it's a different track out there, and you can see that obviously the riders can't wait to get out there and get a look, and they'll go back now. They might fine-tune a couple little things and get ready for the start of the Pro Enduro.
Yeah, the Bouverat Racing, World Class Racing, and RCI Racing sleds have made their run. Have a look at the WV Performance 44, Kevin Vermash and Keith Gainforth, the runners on that one. That's Vermash on the sled right now as he'll control it on down and get a little bit of a feel for where his sled and where the track conditions are at before the run a little bit later on today.
Yeah, a couple more out for a practice session here.
44 will be starting the 16th position for the Pro Enduro later today.
Interesting thing on that machine, you can see the little shield on the front to protect keep the water out of the cowling area, and also, I believe, to direct the water out of the rider's, the water and slush out of the rider's helmet. That's an interesting thing on that 44. If you get another look at that when he comes by on the front nose of that machine.
Look at the two sled, the Town brothers out of Traverse City. Of course, they helped put this track together. Stephen Town, the one on it right now during this practice session, as we'll work our way around. And we'll have another look, like you just mentioned, at the front setup on that 44.
That's the first time I've seen that. That's a spare windshield that's been installed on the front of that one. Interesting.
So, interesting development there again with the WV Performance team this weekend with some hot laps, mostly just kind of an install lap here for all of the Pro Enduro teams out on the circuit right now, getting things set up and making sure things are right before their 130 lapper this afternoon in the Turtle Creek Casino and Hotel 250. Of the Schwartz Racing team will get ready to roll onto the track. Looks like Andy Shoemaker the first to take to that sled. Or check that is Jake Giroux the first to take to the sled.
Yeah, that's Jake Giroux. He'll take that, I believe, Applebee's sponsored Polaris of Carl Schwartz's entry here today. Giroux, a veteran rider out on top of that machine. Take a couple quick laps here around this oval here in Williamsburg, Michigan.
Giroux and Shoemaker last week at Eagle River at the World Championship Snowmobile Derby. The Pro Enduro there, they finished third. 5 seconds off the winning pace from DeWald and Hicks. So certainly a good run there. The R&K Motorsports 24, Billy Ski and Tanner Heatdirks, the riders on that one. You see the Zero, the Ericsson Racing machine. Ericsson and Hughes Jr. will control that one throughout the weekend. Looks like he is Matthew Hughes Jr. that right now is at the controls. And we take a look back just a moment ago at the Zeros. He got swept around the outside by the 24.
You can see that machine push out a little bit there now as they continue on some practice laps here for the Pro Enduro sleds as they ready for today's big Turtle Creek 250.
A look at the 24 machine, the R&K Motorsports car that will start on the inside. Sled, not car. So we'll start on the inside of the second row in third.
You're doing good. You've done very well. That's the first time you mentioned a car today, Nate.
I don't know how I made it that long.
I think you're thinking about that you should be in Daytona when at that race that I know you've been watching.
Well, The 24 will find its way back towards the paddock area. That's, by the way, that's a sports car and IndyCar term, the paddock, that I'm going to continue to use, and you're not going to be able to beat that out of me. So you can call it pits or whatever you want. I'm going to call it the paddock.
Hang on a second. Do we have time? Can we get in an airplane out of here and get to Daytona to see the end?
It's going to be tough. I don't think we're going to quite pull it off. Next group of riders out, the 20 R&R Racing machine. John Giffel is first at the controls for qualifying in this. He'll be teamed up with Adam Wheeler later on throughout this afternoon. Team out of Bear Grove, Michigan. 77 runner, Chad Seiler, Ryan Wolf for Brownlee Boys Racing. And that is Wolf that is taken to the sled first. That neon green and purple painted 77 ride. Nice looking sled there for that. And there's the 79 also for some lap time out on the race course. That is a team out of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Teddy Ritchie Jr., Kyle Breckenbridge, rookie driver on board that. Teddy Ritchie Jr., boy, that's a legendary name back in the Ontario side. Is his dad, the first Canadian team to win the Sault Ste. Marie I-500. Ted Ritchie was on board, the late Ted Ritchie. That's the grandfather of Ted Ritchie Jr.
Just a note to make sure you guys were aware. Of course, you saw Cataract in the 21 sled. They're not going to run that one sled, so just bump everything up a number, and that way we'll have the results of the pro qualifying once you guys get a chance to get these guys all doing what they're doing. But I just wanted to make sure you were totally aware of that so that
thank you, sir.
We keep the information as straight as possible.
Thank you very much, sir.
You are very welcome, gentlemen.
So a few more sleds will come out Pro Enduro, just a couple quick laps to get the teams a little look at today's race conditions. That's the Harris Racing 43 next out onto the front straightaway.
Dakota Harris, the first one on track for that squad, based out of Warren, Michigan, 2022 Polaris 600R, as Dakota will control that ride alongside Scott Harris. The 04 on track as well. Derek Engel, Alex Keat for Stevenson Racing. This is Engel on the course right now.
Well, I got first shout out of the day, Nate. A special shout out going out. Got in with the Brownlee Boys trailer, and Bob and Nessie, they're trackside. They're in the vehicle listening in on 96.9, and Bobby just had some surgery, and he's in a nice warm truck there, so he wishes he could be in the trailer. But hello to Bob and Ness Brownlee. Special shout out from the Brownlee Boys race trailer.
That's awesome. You have a look at the KMW Racing Arctic Cat taking the checkered flag. Luke Krentz, Dustin Schwant will be piloting that machine later. Once more, a look here at the Engel and Keat ridden Stevenson Racing machine, and that is Derek Engel first on the sled here this morning.
Yesterday we had a fair bit of water in that turn 2 area. They had to put some cones out there and direct the sleds to the outside of that. The crew went to work overnight, pumped the water off the track. Much better conditions here today.
I spoke with Greg Town last night after our events yesterday, and they brought in two 2-inch sump pumps that are going to keep the water away from the track today, and he feels very confident that this track's going to hold up. Also, the interesting thing is they still have a minimum of 6 inches of ice left. So I've got a feeling that even though we were a shorter event, we're going to see some great track conditions still.
These machines are rocketing around this race course. It doesn't look like it's had a lot of effect. Much better track conditions here today. There's your winner from Eagle River out on the race course, that 57 machine. Boy, that is one quick Polaris. Zach DeWald, James Hicks. The riders on that one, I believe, that may be on there right now. That might be Zach DeWald, possibly.
I think that's actually Hicks that is.
Oh, is it Hicks?
Is on there right now. We're on the 57. Like I said, I mean, if you're looking for a favorite in this competition, they're on pole, and they're the winners last week. I don't think there's a stronger front runner, I think, in terms of the odds coming into this one than the 57 crew.
If you look, what you'll see is on the riders, some of the riders you'll see a marking, a yellow a circle on their right side of their helmet. That's there to try, so we can try to identify. They go by here. I mean, at 80 mile an hour, we try to identify what rider is on board the machine. Was they they go in and they make rider changes, and that's really our only way of telling. So we'll do our best to try to tell you what riders on there. I know if Grandma's back home, and we're not talking about her boy, we sometimes get some bomb threats here in the there, but, we'll do our best to try to talk about your boy on the race course.
And again, we do thank you if you are watching at home. Thank you for joining us this weekend here at the Turtle Creek Casino and Hotel 250 on the MIRA Race Network, brought to you by Ginop Sales and Service. They do have 3 locations, Alanson, Williamson, and Hillman. And our camera one shot that you're seeing right now is courtesy of the telehandler they lent us this weekend. We've got Ed up in the air about 20 feet, and it's just giving him an absolute wonderful look at the race surface.
The shots are just unbelievable. Look at that shot right there. That's the DeWalt sled, Troy DeWalt on board that one, that number, that Cataract Collision Arctic Cat. That's just a great shot here in MIRA Race Vision.
And DeWalt will be paired up with Ryan Spencer this afternoon on that Arctic Cat, the purple and black liveried sled. And again, they had yesterday a couple different sleds we got to see them use in the qualifying runs. They're getting some things set. Had the T car as we called it out there. The 17, also the RNS racing machine. Cusack and Knightsky will pilot that one later on. It looks like it's Cusack getting the practice run right now.
You haven't seen, Nate, yet the Cataract Collision Arctic Cat. They put some really sweet purple lights on the tunnel of that, and really looks impressive. Sometimes you'll see that those LED lights under that tunnel on that 21, that Cataract Collision Arctic Cat. So a couple of practice runs there completed there.
This was just brought to my attention, ladies and gentlemen. The entire Traverse City community and the MIRA family would like to send their thoughts and prayers to the Fouch family for the loss of their son, Nick. Nick and his father, Ray, were avid snowmobile fans, and they loved following the MIRA circuit. They also were active at the Sioux I-500. We know this is going to be a difficult season after that type of loss, but we'll race today with Nick looking down from the best seats in the stands. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thoughts and prayers to the entire Fouch family on behalf of the MIRA family and the entire Traverse City community.